anyway, so we've got 100 billion wasted on EU regulations according to the Better Regulation Commission annual report forward by Tony Blair, so we know that's a government figure. And we've lost at least 40 billion annually with the closing down of companies because of European regulation. The most daft regulation now is that car paint shops have to use water-based paints, children's paints, to repair cars with.
Mm-hmm. So, and cars, when they're new, from the factory, have got water-based paints, quite a few of them.
Yeah, so that means that your average sort of two-man in a garage car repair shop has gone out of business because only the massive ones can make this ridiculous paint stick. You've got to have massive facilities. So every little bump you have in a car now is £1,000 to fix because it's only a big company and a huge process that can actually paint your car again. That's the latest one. One of the first regulations got rid of abattoirs, and all our cattle were being shipped to Europe because we weren't allowed to slaughter our own cattle. Of course, none of this ever applied in Europe.
Well, no, we have got some abattoirs here, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, we had to build brand new ones under EU regulation. Oh yeah, and then now we're allowed to slaughter our own cattle again, but now we have big, expensive abattoirs.
And you can't, like, a farmer can't kill one sheep.
It's legal. You're not allowed to.
I think a lot of it's going on, though, you know. I've been offered the odd lamb myself.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, so all this red tape, more and more and more red tape.
Yeah, and it's generally quangos that enforce EU regulations. We're spending 167 billion on quangos. We're losing 40 billion a year through industries like Rover Car Company that have closed down. All these little village petrol stations were forced to close down under EU regulations. Hundreds of businesses have gone. And do you know, one of the things that really annoys me is no business has stood up and said, the EU is closing my business. You would think small business would be up in arms.
Well, they blame the government, don't they? They blame the government. Mark from York says, is immigration a Frankfurt School technique?
Oh, gosh, absolutely. Overwhelming immigration, overwhelming our infrastructure. The government said there'd be 13,000 come in when the EU got control of our borders.
Because anybody who's in the EU is now allowed to come to England without any kind of let or hindrance.
A bit more than that. The EU has controlled our borders since the 1997 Amsterdam Treaty, and the government said 13,000 would come in. We've had about 10 million in total. They never gave us the figures, but they did let it slip in 2008 that 2.7 million had come in 1 year.
And that was mostly from Poland, wasn't it?
Well, they did give us the total. Yes, that was right. Yeah, yeah. And not only can our infrastructure not handle it, you know, all these cities now full of immigrants. You can't drive to school. You can't drive to work. The infrastructure, the roads can't handle it. We've got 380,000 English people a year emigrating to get away from the overcrowding, and the idea is to create overcrowding and tension. It's a Frankfurt School of Subversion technique. So they are particularly delighted to pull Muslims into the country and then try to teach us to dislike them. That is government policy. And you know, they're trying to create tension, and they're doing a damn good job. But the English people are really terribly nice and very laid back, and their plans to create tension have not gone anything like as well as they hoped they would.
Why is that, do you think?
Because we're just nice guys.
I mean, we're tolerant.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. According to the Frankfurt School, we're unreasonably tolerant.
Yes, we're unreasonably tolerant. We should be fighting on the streets now, which is their plan.
I mean, you know, it is true, isn't it, that, you know, our schools, they're teaching multiple religions, and you see programs about schools where the children speak 30 or 40 or even more languages, which is extraordinary.
Yeah, the technique destroys identity. If you flood a nation with immigrants, you destroy their identity, and that is happening, and it's a stunningly successful technique.
So they're destroying the family, they're destroying our industry, they're destroying our
schools,
infrastructure.
Schools, the tax on the teachers, you know, teachers not allowed to do anything now. That's deliberate, that's another Frankfurt School.
Well, do you think we should have corporal punishment in schools?
I don't want to get into that debate, but a teacher should be able to control their class and instill discipline on them.
Well, it's hard to know what they can do, you know, they write out lines or something.
Yeah, but until they got to the point where you know, a teacher can be sued by any student, there really wasn't a problem. But it's the Frankfurt School of Subversion technique to undermine schools and teachers.
Undermine authority.
Yes.
And also I know that head teachers have enormous amounts of paperwork to do, so they can't spend any time teaching.
That's right.
Or managing the teaching. Yes. And I also remember reading recently that a lot of teachers don't want to become head teachers because it's
all paperwork, yeah.
It's not the same job anymore.
Yes, and it's generally quangos that are implementing that. Quangos are loading teachers down with so much paperwork they can't be teachers. It's deliberate, and it's generally common purpose inside quangos.
We're going to go for another break now.